Hello, everyone. We're so excited to have you back for our finale episode of HighLife Music Deconstructed. It's really been a ride, and we're looking forward to sharing some more musical excitements with our host, Bernard. My name is Abna Sewa, and I'm the founder of the digital culture publication, Acadie Magazine, for Ghanaians in the diaspora and also in the motherland. And I'm joined by Bernard Johnson Taki, who is a vinyl record collector. He's also known by the name Volta 45, and he's an archivist and cultural activist who also runs the initiative, the Golden Stool Project. So welcome, Bernard.
Hello, it's good to be back again. It's been a long, I don't know how long, but we finally managed to get episode 4 together. So yes, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you've basically schooled us on the history of HighLife, which I think has spanned almost a century. So, I'm really looking forward to hearing what you've got in store for us. But just to recap for our viewers, we've basically been talking about traditional music. We've evolved onto speaking about palm wine music and also the influence of American jazz. And then when we got to the point where we had the coup in Ghana, we saw that the music changed, and out of that we had Bogger HighLife. So for those of you who've missed any of that, we have it all on video. We have it on Bernard's YouTube page, which is the Golden Stool Project. It's also on Acadie as well on Facebook, so you can recap at your leisure. But while we just wait, I know that people are tweeting, so I just want to make sure that they're aware that it's HMD series if they want to retweet or to just ask us any questions. And I think it's time for you to tell us a little bit more about what you'll be sharing with us today for episode 5.
Yes, so I mean, you've actually encapsulated all that we spoke about from episodes 1 to episode 5. Sorry, to episode 4, beg your pardon. So on episode 5, we will briefly be touching on Hiplife. That was obviously the genre that emerged after the demise of Bogger HighLife and the subsequent music trends that followed. I mean, by the turn of the millennium, most young musicians gravitated towards performing with a backing track or miming instead of a live band. I mean, this is more or less the case today. I mean, in Ghana, the chart toppers, the superstars of today, they hardly play live. But I mean, on this episode, we will be shining the spotlight on this generation of very young, talented musicians who are still playing live. I mean, we know HighLife is sort of our national sound, but it's not only HighLife. You know, we've got music from the north as well, and we've got all types of sort of contemporary indigenous music. Fortunately or unfortunately, you wouldn't find these young new musicians playing in like the trendiest clubs in Accra or something like that. Instead, you find them playing to global audiences from, especially in Europe, from Roskilde Festival, the North Sea Jazz Festival, our own Glastonbury and WOMAD here in the UK, Sautisa, Busara in Zanzibar. I mean, just to name a few of these festivals. And these virtually, I'd say, unknown acts in Ghana play to thousands. So on this very episode, we're very lucky to have a few of these talented musicians to we actually had a word and they'll be playing for us. So we've got Kwame Yeboah, a multi-instrumentalist producer. We've got Chichaku from the Super Opong Stars, amazing guitarist. We've got Nyono Wofia Agosa from the Agosa band, great neo-traditional sound. And then finally, we have Lala Sessions. So Lala Sessions is more or less a hip new collective in Ghana, formed by Niman Chair and Biko. I mean, you're going to get to meet these guys later, and they're amazing people, actually.
I can't wait to hear their performances, hear the conversations you've had with them. Yep. So I think the best thing to do is for us to get started, because we've got a lot to get through. Normally, you always start us off with a song. So what do you have for us today?
Okay, what I have for you today, I mean, today we are going to talk about Hiplife. So we know Hiplife started in the mid-90s. I mean, rapping in Chi or rapping in a Ghanaian dialect started in the mid-90s. But I'm going to take you 10 years back when Ghanaians were rapping in English, you know. So for this music break session, I have a band called Pepper, Onion, Ginger and Salt. It was led by Bessa Simmons, famous keyboard player in Ghana. It had the Hammond brothers, Max Hammond and Max Hammond on drums and Louis Hammond on trumpet. And they call this MC Mambo. So yes, let's go for it. Oh, yeah, it's coming.
Much more than rock and roll. But all the girls are passing by. There must be something wrong. MC Mambo. I'm looking in the mirror and thinking about me. I don't know what to do. But when I listen to my inner beat, my heart tells me to cry. MC Mambo. But all the girls are passing by. There must be something wrong. MC Mambo. I'm looking in the mirror, I'm thinking about me. I don't know what to do. But when I listen to my inner beat, my heart tells me to cry. MC Mambo. Now everything is grooving high, much more than rock and roll. I feel the love, I feel the pain. I think I reached my goal. MC Mambo.
What a great start to our episode. I really enjoyed that. You can hear the brassy sounds. It's got a jazzy feel to it as well. And a bit of a rap. So tell us, why did you pick this song?
Well, I mean, today we're going to talk briefly about Hiplife. So I thought, okay, Hiplife is rap. And Hiplife actually was the time when Ghanaian musicians started rapping in Chi. So I thought, okay, let's go back 80s, early rap. And I picked, the name of this band actually is called Pepper, Onion, Ginger and Salt. No joke.
It's an awesome name. You're not going to forget that one.
No. So that was just to sort of show that, I mean, Ghanaians had always loved rapping to some extent. The tongue twisting and alliteration has always been sort of part of our DNA.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it really shines through. Now, as with tradition, you always explain to us what you're going to speak about. You break it down for us. So can you do that for us today?
Well, so, I mean, for this final finale, instead of having 8 odd bits, I've got it in 2 sort of really simple sections. So we're going to talk briefly about the era after the era of Bugger HighLife. And we'll touch briefly on Hiplife and the subsequent journeys that followed it. Sort of lots of offshoots of contemporary music around that time. And then the final bit, which is like very most exciting, are the performances and interviews. So yes, that's the way we're going to roll for this final episode.
Okay, so you have mentioned the acts that will be performing. So I guess we should just get ready and get started, get stuck into it.
Yes, but yeah, let's talk about Hiplife and the subsequent journeys first. I know you're sort of excited, and then we can.
Okay, well let's start with HighLife. Tell us what it is. Like, break it down for us.
Hiplife, not HighLife.
Sorry, I keep doing that. Hiplife, yeah. Break it down for us.
So, I mean, Hiplife is another subsequent genre of Ghanaian music that became really popular. In the mid-90s, it was basically a fusion of US hip hop culture, HighLife music, and Ghanaian sort of proverbial speech and storytelling.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it reminds me, when I think about it, of episode 1 when we had the Achami appellations, and then also episode 3 when we had Jedu Ambele with the early form of rap that we heard then.
Yes.
So, I mean, could you explain to me? Sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, Hiplife, I mean, borrows a lot from the rhythmic repertoire of traditional music, praise poetry, war songs, and sort of Ghanaian rhythms and traditional oratory circles. So alliteration and tongue twisting has always been part of our Ghanaian culture. Going back again to episode 1, where we looked at Ochame Ekufu's funeral dirge for the Asantehene when he died. It was structured in bars, and to me, that is all part of our tradition. I mean, this has been going on ever since. Wordplay has been going on ever since the beginning of time, and you find it most in the royal courts or in probably traditional religion as well.
So why is it that if we had smatterings of rap earlier on, why did it take hold in the 90s? Why did it
Well,
take that long?
I think once again, I will backtrack again because this is more or less a summary of what we've been talking about for the past 2 months or so. If you look at the trend of sort of contemporary music and its offshoots, it always points to America, unfortunately. You know, so I think in the early 40s and the 50s, it was big band jazz. In the early 70s, it was American funk. You know, come the 90s, I mean, what was hip in America was hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, in the 90s, the hip hop industry had actually matured. So that was one aspect as to why it took a strong hold. And then the next, and I think most crucial point, is that, I mean, hip hop epitomizes the twofold notion of Black masculinity, empowerment, and capital success. So I've got loads of money. Yes, why not? I drive a Rolls Royce and I show it off. I have videos with scantily dressed women. And so it was a mirror image of what was happening in America, just to actually summarize it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. And we see lots of trends of that still today. So who were
Yes.
the pioneers of Hiplife?
I think pioneers of Hiplife, I would probably go back a bit more because from the record that I just played, we've been rapping, but we've always rapped in English.
Yeah.
You know, trying to copy the Americans like for like. But it got to a point where there had to be some form of diversion. So people started rapping in the local dialects.
Is that Chi, I guess?
It could be Chi, it could be Ga, it could be Ever. I mean, it was, people started rapping now in local dialects now. And I think they did that mainly to get the message across, because a lot of people would understand their local dialect. They wanted to increase their fan base, so they thought, yeah, let's try and try and make it our own way. Let's try and make it our own way by rapping in our local dialects. Yeah.
So who would you say was the pioneer of doing that?
Back to that. So I can say the very first person to ever record a Hiplife song to vinyl was Reggie Rockstone. Reggie Rockstone was the son of famous designer Ricky Osei, born in London but grew up in New York.
Okay.
It was in 1996 that he teamed up with Zach Mallet, another famous producer, and his other friend from New York called Rap Bakary. He was a producer. So this was the sort of the technical team behind him, and they released Choboy in '96, and it was a hit. I mean, it sampled K Frimpong and Fela Kuti. So once again, that hip hop culture of sampling, you know, that was clearly reflected, in my opinion, Ghana's first ever Hiplife record.
Absolutely. I'm sure you've got that record in your collection.
Yes, I have that record. I actually bought it not long ago. It cost me a lot of money, but yeah.
Okay, we won't discuss how much. Yeah. Okay. But I guess that would have opened the doors for other artists to also start performing and singing in their national languages.
Exactly. I mean, after Reggie's release, it opened the floodgates. So you had people like Lord Kenya, the first rap group, the Talking Drums, Atumpam. You have Chief G, native funk lords with Eddie Blair. I remember that very well. You had people like Tiny. I mean, the list is massive. It goes on. VIP, Obo, Bookback, your favorite group, actually.
Oh, you mentioned them. I didn't think you were.
Why? Because I mean, tell us the story. They came round to your house, and what happened?
Don't make it like I always want to go on about it, but yes, I do. Basically, many years ago, although I'm not that old, they came to my house quite randomly because can you believe this, Bernard? Ages ago, I wanted to write an article about the evolution of HighLife music, and here we are today. So they came round to my house and they performed Chingilingi for me in my house.
Fantastic.
So
I mean,
yeah, that's my little claim to fame.
there you go then. So Tic Tac, Yogi Doggy, Sarkodie, Samini Batman, that was it. And that was a pivotal moment in sort of Ghanaian contemporary music. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned earlier about hypermasculinity being quite prominent when you talk about rap and Hiplife. And I'm interested to know if that made it harder for women to contribute.
Well, it did, but I mean, you had women eventually break through. We'll take an example of Abrewanana, who was actually spotted by Bandex, Alaji Banda of Bandex, and she was in a group called Sat Squad from Takoradi or something like that, and they never made it until Bandex gave them that break. So I think women in Hiplife also played a very sort of important role. You had people like Tiffany and Easy. I mean, those people laid the foundation for people like Ino Baroni and Sister Efia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think, yes, hypermasculinity, but yes, women also contributed immensely to that movement.
Yeah. And I know that in previous episodes, we've always talked about the structures and the labels. And we had a situation when we look back to the early 1900s. So I think the 1920s, a lot of the production was in European hands, and you saw that slowly shift. So it's interesting to find out where we were in the 90s when it comes to industry structures.
I think in the 90s, Hiplife gave birth to a very vibrant cottage industry of labels, producers, recorded engineers. I mean, marketing and distribution, A&R. You know, so you had labels like Case Frequency, you had Casa Records, you had Noise Records that released Obrafos Paimuka, which is regarded by people in the Hiplife circles as the holy grail of Hiplife.
I've got that album.
Fantastic. I mean, you had producers like obviously Zach Mallet, you had Rob Bakary, you had JQ, who popularized the pan logo style of rap music, and then you had people like Abraham Mohenijan as well. His contribution cannot be overlooked. So Panji Anoff from Pigeon Music, you know, all these people did so much for the scene. They did so much to help artists develop their craft.
And I know that when we've spoken before, we've highlighted that you might have a trending type of music, but you always have other types that are also playing. So I know HighLife hadn't died. I mean, it hadn't gone away. So what was happening there?
Well, so I mean, just like in previous episodes as well, I mean, there were people that still carried on playing HighLife the way it should be played. You know, they had Western influence, so it was still the Yam Ponsa guitar. They still most importantly, they played live. Anyway, come the 90s, in terms of production, it had become more digitized. But although it had been digitized, people were still playing the Yam Ponsa style. The chord progressions were still the same chord progressions that was used in the 60s. Maybe horns were replaced by synthesizers, but that core groove of HighLife still maintained itself. So you had singers, you had singers like Papa Shi, Obibini Techi, that Terry Bonchaka, you know, all those singers, and KK Fosu, and all those singers, they were, most importantly, I mean, I can't forget Dasibre Nanajamana, I think. Yeah. I mean, he released what's the name of that song? Kokoko with Lord
Which
Kenya.
I have.
With, I think it was Lord Kenya doing the rap. So that was a mirror image of an American sort of style of putting musicians together. Typical example, I
Absolutely.
say Brian McKnight and Mace. If you
Yeah.
would be mine,
Yeah.
typical
No.
R
Yeah.
R&B, soul, and hip hop. So this is a typical HighLife singer and a Hiplife artist. So I think that song in itself, that was produced by Marco Okrikumante from Slip Music. I think it still stands and holds its own up to today.
And what I find interesting is, I'm not sure if you mentioned Sarkodie, but you see him, he's kind of evolved, you know, from that period in the early noughties right through to today, where he was, you know, he's been rapping, doing lots of high hip life music, but then we've seen that evolve into Afro beats and, you know, continued on. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what could you talk about this seemingly acceleration of the shifts in music? That's what I'm going to call it.
Yeah, I think come the 90s, the creation and the onslaught of new genres were like lightning fast. I mean, this was mainly propelled by, I'd say, technology to begin with, because it was easier to make music. Come maybe the early 2000s, mid 2000s, there was the internet. So that even made it even much quicker to get music produced, marketed, and sort of distributed. So you've got, as you said, the hip life era went into something along the lines of Azonto, then Afrobeat, then what else have we got?
Well, we've got kind of like drill now, don't we?
Ex-
We've got the
Exactly.
Comerica. Yeah.
The Kumerica movement,
Yeah.
as you said. And so it's I can't keep up. You know,
Yeah.
I just can't keep up. But I mean, that tells you that with the inception of technology now, we live in an era of instant gratification. You know, it's about having a hit for 2 hours and that's it.
I mean, we
You
actually
know,
should talk also about Caribbean music, which has been a feature all throughout High Life Music Deconstructed, isn't it?
yes, it has. And Caribbean music, i.e., dancehall, is
Yeah.
number one in Ghana now. I mean, the top artists, the top two artists in Ghana, I think, is Shatawale and Stoneboy. I
Yeah.
mean, they rule the roost, and they're doing dancehall, you know, which is a Caribbean phenomena. And the Caribbean phenomena has been with us since the 40s. The visit of Lord Kitchener, you know, High Life band's obsession with the calypso. In the 60s, it was like rock steady. Everybody was playing rock steady. Pat Thomas played rock steady. African Brothers played rock steady, you know. And now it's dancehall. So I think Caribbean music is here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. Personally,
Absolutely. Yeah.
personally,
Yeah. No, absolutely. You're absolutely right there.
yeah.
I think one of the things that you've always sort of talked about ever since we started this episode, though, and it's a bit of a shift away from the popular music that we know in Ghana, is this focus on live, playing live. So I
Yes.
want you to explain why that is still so important, you think?
Yes, I think playing live music is very, very important, you know. Although after the 80s there was the downturn, as I said, there are young musicians still flying the flag and wanting to keep it going. I mean, live music in itself, watching a live performance, is thought provoking, you know. It can let you understand the artist better, you know. It can let you relate to the artist's craft on a personal level. That's the first one. And the second most important thing is that it encourages creativity. You know, watching the artist alone gives the artist, there's that communication between you watching the artist, and you share that communication. You don't get that when the music is sort of when a musician is playing to a backing track, or a musician is miming. You just don't have that. So that
No.
is one thing that makes live music important. And finally, live performances can help preserve your cultural heritage, you
Yeah.
know. At the same time as well, it can let people appreciate your cultural heritage. So I think it's live music is a currency, you know.
Uh,
It's a currency.
No, you're absolutely right there. And I feel like this is a nice segue into the first of many performances that we're going to see from
Yes,
some of
yes.
the contemporary high life musicians that you've been speaking to. So I think I'll start off with Lala Sessions, which are Manche, Ni Manche, and also Biko. I'm going to tell you a little bit. I know you know him, but this is for the purposes of the audience. So some of you may know or have watched Shirley Frimpong Manso's film Potato Potato, or you may have seen A Perfect Picture, the second one, 10 years later. If you have, you no doubt have heard of some of Biko's music, because his soundtrack, some of his music is in the soundtrack. He describes himself as an Afro soul singer, and he also is a vocalist and a guitarist, and he's carved a name for himself in Ghana, performing across Accra, also outside in Switzerland, and also in the US as well. He's worked with producers including the famous Kwame Yeboah, Kojo Entry, and also Kobi Onyame. And as we mentioned earlier, he is one part of the Lala Sessions, which is a platform to preserve and promote Ghana's original sound and promote it to a younger audience. So Bernard, I believe that you're going to talk about your mate Nimanche as well, aren't you?
Yes. So Manche is an amazing bass player, probably one of the best bass players in Accra at the moment. He comes from a very musical family, and he started playing the bass in church, actually. And he sat in the same class with Biko as well. He's played for, you name it, Kojo Entry. He is currently on tour with Pat Thomas's Kwashibu area band. And he's also a producer. I mean, I just let the music do the talking. So
okay.
This is Lala Sessions. They have actually done a brilliant cover of Uhuru Professional Band's Brubi. I mean, I was blown away the first time I heard this rendition anyway. So this is Lala with Brubi.
No crack, nene sane na me na fe wa na we ya bo me kakra ene mi se fi mi su ko se mi na se ene mi unyi na raji mi se yara. So So I tell my girl, say me that I'm a good day. What she tell I see her, she dey show me love every day. Coca, me do it onto sa. So up in my side, even though the boy no get car. I been around where I see, say, you know, need forget the guys where they come around with the money. How many times make I tell you, say I be some different fella, but you they want to get mommy. And you me see for me, so cause me nasi. And you me when you not right, me say yara. Now so when your friend no don't know, certain can you don't know. On the sun that's yeah, some people you don't know. And then me will be man, me will be man is strong. Just tell me what the man me what the man papa. Me see me what the man me what the man is strong.
I have to say that I have been grooving to that song ever since I heard it. I saw it on Instagram. I feel like it's something that, you know, your grandma and her grandchild, you know, together you'd be grooving to that because it speaks to both of, you know, the generations. What do you think?
Well, I think that is an up-to-date rendition of a classic song. I mean, tight horn section, tight bass, amazing vocals, and that rap. I mean,
Oh yeah.
that really updates such a classic song, and the fact that it's near enough almost acoustic, you know. There's no drum kit, and it still sounds good, and I think it's a great watch.
Amazing
watch.
Amazing, yeah. And I believe you got to have a bit of a chat with them as well, didn't you?
Yes, I caught up with Biko and Nimanche, and
yeah.
this is what they had to say. Hi, hello, and welcome to the final edition of HighLife Music Deconstructed. I am very, very happy and very pleased to have with me today Biko and Manche from Lala. Welcome, Biko. Welcome, Manche. Good to have you guys on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Cool. Anyway, I remember the first time I saw that video on YouTube of you guys playing that cover of Uhuru Professionals Booby. I mean, I obviously knew Manche before because I'd met him at Jazz Cafe in London, I think last summer. But I thought, what the hell is this? I thought, this is absolutely amazing. And these guys are very young. These are not old guys. These guys are like really young, hip guys. So I'm thinking, well, I mean, there has to be something there. There has to be some sort of outer experience that made you guys decide to go down the path of playing proper high life. So, I mean, what's the inspiration, or what was the inspiration behind Lala?
So over the years, Manche and I, we've been discussing ways to preserve the sound, and I think in 2019 we had a discussion about how to create a platform where people get to perform songs that we normally don't hear all the time, classics and the golden records, and also to find ways to improve my personal stagecraft in terms of programming some of the beats before I go on stage. And then I think fast forward 2020, we kicked off with the cover that you saw, and the song was a song that I had on radio on one station. I think it was GBC. They had this program, HighLife something, and I was just sleeping. I heard it. I was like, nah, I need to, I need to know who made this song. I need to listen to this again. So I found it. I shared it with Manche. I think he knew it already, but I shared it with him, and then over time, I said, "This is what I want to. This is what I want to do. I want to bring it back and add some rap, and just recreate it so that people who never got the chance to hear it can hear it and know that the sound from this space is amazing. The HighLife is amazing."
Yeah, true. I mean, that rap element that you embedded within that song, I mean, it made it so hip. I mean, if I say hip, I can imagine, the youngsters actually sort of thinking, those are really nice punchlines. Is that not what they call it in rap music?
Yeah. Yes.
They must be thinking, some heavy punchlines, and the guy looks really cool. So maybe we'll slightly sort of start gravitating towards it. But saying that again, next question goes to Manche. Manche, I know, obviously, playing with the most illustrious Pat Thomas in the Kwashibu area band. And you're a producer as well. You do help other people produce music. You have produced music for other people in the past. From being a HighLife musician, from a musician's perspective, what do you think can be done to actually make HighLife more appealing to the younger generation? The people that want to listen to auto-tuned sort of modern contemporary pop music. What do you do to actually bridge that gap? Because your sound is 100% organic. 100%.
Okay. So I'll say there's the need to collaborate. Like looking at what me and Biko did with Lala.
Yeah.
There was that collaboration. We could have just done gone. He's some young guy and he loves me, I play a lot of HighLife. I'm not sure he plays a lot of HighLife outside, and I think that's an example of collaborating to create that kind of sound,
and reach sort of the younger audience as well, I guess.
Yeah.
So how do you think the younger audience now, do they still look at HighLife as some sort of, this is old school? And let me just reiterate here. I don't think HighLife is old school. I think HighLife never ages. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's not old school. I mean, it's like saying rock music is old school. They've been playing rock since 1950.
Yeah.
And it's not even classified as old school. So last one, Manche. So, I mean, you've mentioned collaborations, but do you think probably if young musicians start learning how to play instruments, they would gravitate towards playing more natural, organic sound then?
I think so. It will help a lot.
Yeah.
It will really help them to get that sound, that Ghanaian sound.
Yeah.
Because when you start learning, you start hearing some things in the songs, and then you are like, what is that? I want to learn that. Because now the music in the past had more music, arrangements when you listen to them than now. Now it's you just hear the same progression throughout. It's just breaks, same progression.
No bridges,
No
nothing.
bridges,
Nothing.
nothing.
It's just...
No, you don't even get to hear a solo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you hear music in the past, and then when you hear this Sikaya Moja, and then there's a solo in there, we are listening to. But
Yeah.
you know, I think when they learn, I mean, it will take them. It will take them back to the music we have, like
Yeah.
our vintage sound. I mean, we can't maybe fully go back, but we can try to blend the sounds, you know,
Yeah.
to I mean
Yeah.
get
So,
something.
so we can try and sort of meet halfway,
Yeah,
a very equal blend of organic sound and I'd say electronic sounds as well.
yeah.
A very balanced blend. Yeah, I think
There's a song me and Biko worked on, and I think that's like a perfect example.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Okay. Yeah.
the song called Saint Kwan, it was released in November.
27.
Yeah, November 27th, just last year. And I think, just as he said, it's a perfect blend because you have all the elements of the, the true high life,
Yeah.
and you have some 808s there to beef it up and make it sound more appealing to the younger listener, and also like finding ways to make it visually appealing. Is like I look at it from the point of fashion,
Yeah.
and then like the aesthetics of my videos will
Yeah.
draw you to love the sound. Like you have no option. Once you are drawn to the brand, and I'm giving you something that you can relate to, you're definitely gonna love it. Yeah.
No, I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, that boils down to the point. You don't always have to like. I mean, I said that once before. You don't always have to wear African print to sort of play high life. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wearing an Adidas T-shirt,
Yeah.
and a Nike trainers, and
Yes.
play high life music. I think that is it has to be upgraded. That's the
Yeah.
word.
Yes.
We have to upgrade. We have to upgrade it. So I'm
Yeah.
coming back to you, Biko, again. I mean, I know in Ghana, there are a lot of little organizations that support what you people do, because what you people do is not regular mainstream. I would consider it for like avant-garde niche.
Mm, mm,
You know. So
Yeah.
what support do you get? What has support been like from, say, the media houses, support from radio stations? Tell us, what has the support been for your type of sound?
Right. So in the beginning it was, kind of hard, but with time I found people like Shelley Frimpong who would always ask for music and feature in their movies, so
Yeah.
new listeners can find me.
Yeah.
She's amazing with like the new crop of artists, and then who are doing like amazing music.
Yeah.
And apart from here, I could say like a few radio stations who have also supported. I can mention YFM, Plus FM, Live
Big up to
FM.
YFM, yeah.
Yeah. I think those are the main people. As I say, FM recently, they also came on board to like support what I've been doing, and then also my friends, family. Without them, I could have stopped along the way.
Well,
So
I mean,
I like to say thanks to everybody who's been supporting us. Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's great. I mean, I'm quite pleased to hear the fact that you mentioned a few sort of FM stations, and well, I mean, if you've got them supporting you, I think that is a very good start, because at least they've started. You guys are not mainstream, as I
Yeah.
said, avant-garde niche, but
Mhm.
at least you've got this little ecosystem that's keeping you going, and
Yeah.
probably, who knows, fingers crossed. I mean, it's my hope that things change for the future, and you guys get the required support that you need. But yes, to Manche, I know you've just finished touring with Pat Thomas. You were meant to tour again,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, it didn't happen. But it's not only you; it's happened to us as well. I'm a DJ. It happened to me. I mean, nothing for the whole of that summer. Yeah. So, I mean, what was it like being on? I know your tours are hectic. I mean, back to back, nearly every day. what is it like being on tour with Kwame Yeboah and the Kwashibu area band?
Um,
With Pat Thomas, obviously.
okay, going on tour with that was like my first tour
Yeah.
with Pat Thomas and Kwashibu area band. And I would say it's been like, and it is one of the amazing moments of my musical journey. Like, it's one of the biggest moments for me. Because you find yourself on stage with Pat Thomas, Kwame Yeboah, Kweku Mensah, Sunday, and all of them. Like, man, like it's crazy. It's and I happen to be the youngest in the band too. So
oh my god.
I was just like it's not easy, but it was fun. It was moving from one point, from one gig to the other. Sometimes you move from the airport straight to the stage. There's no rest, but I'm like, say hey, Juma, so I'm doing it,
I think you did a fantastic job. I mean, Biko, you've toured as well. I mean, can you tell us some stories? Because I'm sure, like, sort of playing in various places in like the States and stuff like that, you get your fair share of attention.
Right. If I'm going to be honest, the reception and the level of respect that people have for what we do outside of this space is different.
Trust me.
I played one gig in New Jersey. Those guys got me from my house to the venue. They got me back, paid the full amount, which you don't get from here.
What was the size of your rider then? Was it like, what did you have on your rider?
It wasn't too much. But they still, like, they were just on point, and they take care of you as like the artist.
Yes,
they respect
the artist.
They respect the craft. They appreciate what you give them because they understand that you're here to serve them. They listen to you. They put their phones down. So, I think it's beautiful when you play outside, and it reminds you of the depth of what you're doing. Like what you're doing carries weight. You realize
it does for real.
how great the job is.
Yeah. And as I said the last time, I mean, we would like to work with you guys in the future. I mean, I would like to have like a proper evening where we'll have a full stream. Like we can talk to everybody and you guys would play and we'd have an interlude. And so, yeah, we're working on that if just in case you didn't know, so I'm telling you. So, so yeah, maybe like 4, 5, 6 songs. We'll work something out when that time comes. So yeah. It's amazing to have you guys on. So yes, tell us what have you guys got for us in the future? I mean, what's the future like for Lala Sessions? I mean, one each. I think Biko first, and then Manche, and then
I'll let you go.
Okay, Manche, you go first then. What's the future like for you guys? What are the plans? I mean, if it's top secret, you can decide not to tell us. People like to keep things top secret.
No. Just let them in.
Okay.
A little bit.
We are still. I mean, we still have plans, and I think every day we are looking into new things. But for now, we are going to continue with what we started. Because of COVID, we had to stop and go back and then come back again to do it. But for now, we are trying to find a new way to to still keep on giving out the music, and then keep adding our twist to it, so that we have something people will love.
Yeah, actually, I'm probably jumping the gun here, Biko, but I'm actually looking forward to an album, actually. So what's the future?
From Lala.
From Lala first, and then you.
That wouldn't be a problem at all. We just that wouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
That wouldn't be a
Cool.
Yeah, because
So-
Manche and I, we lock in most of the time just to talk, just to vibe, just to, and even the recent record that we worked on together, it was just me visiting him right here, and he was just playing the beat. I just knew that was it, and then we
Okay.
created magic. So I don't think an album is far fetched. It's possible.
I look
Yeah.
forward to it. This is
Yes.
this is a personal crusade. I look forward to that album, guys.
All right.
I'm not joking. It's gonna be hot, proper hot.
Yeah.
So I'm
We
looking
had
forward
a
to it.
conversation about a live album.
Yeah.
Also,
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Also, I know that's a lot of work and a lot of resources need to be put into consideration. So we're not in a rush, but we'll make it happen.
Good. I actually love the idea of the live album. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I really love it. Anyway, Charlie, thank you very much for you guys for joining us again. And I wish you all the best with Lala and your personal endeavors as well. And we look forward to seeing you guys very soon. And once again, thank you very, very much.
Thank you too for having us. We're really happy
We
to
appreciate
be on board, and we appreciate the level of commitment you have towards what we are doing, because not everybody understands what we're trying to put across. So thank you too. I appreciate you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much. Thank you.
All right.
Fantastic. That was a
I
really
know.
amazing interview. So much content there. I think they're a perfect example of why collaboration works, don't you think?
Perfectly. I mean, yeah, two heads are better than one, as they always say.
Yeah, and we saw your two heads in the screen as well. Was that weird, seeing yourself twice?
Cool.
Well, talking of collaboration, I think the next person that we're going to hear from is a good friend of yours. So Chichaku also has a band, Super Pong Stars, isn't it? So
yeah. So
tell us about him.
Che is a good friend of mine. I mean, I met him through De La Bouterie years ago at Alliance Francaise. So Chichaku was born in Ghana. Sorry, Chichaku was born in Nigeria, but he grew up in Ghana. Beg your pardon. He's sort of amazing guitarist, absolutely amazing guitarist. So he enrolled at the prestigious University of Science and Technology in Kumasi to study building technology, actually.
Wow.
And later decided to switch roles and go to the court of the great legendary guitarist
Konimo.
Why did that slip me? He went to the court of Eja Konimo to actually learn the rudiments of palm wine guitar, and which he actually draws a lot of inspiration from. He is the main brain behind the Super Opong band, Super Opong Stars, and they are quite big on the international scene. North Sea Jazz Festival. They've played recently with Salif Keita and Richard Bonner at the Stanbic Ghana Jazz Festival, actually, and they are working on an album with Philophone, an amazing German label that has actually set up camp in Kumasi. We'll talk about them later. So yes, go on.
No, I was just going to say, so first of all, will we have the performance and then
Yes. So yes, this is Chichaku performing a very special exclusive clip just for us.
In this series, this is Chichaku from Super Opong Stars. Stay tuned.
sa wapatia kukrumie. Kukrume sa wapatia kukrumie. Kukrume odoye we kukrumie. Bekro sa mamantem manantem swaba kukrumie. Kukrume sa wapatia kukrumie. Kukrumie odo kukrumie. Kukrume sa wapatia kukrumie. Kukrume odoye we kukrumie. Swaba kukrumie. Yamfa edroidi yamfa. Yamfa edroidi yamfo. Many I call and sending them under. Would you agree you see can be done and bar? Kukrume odoye we kukrumie. Bekro na san mandantem mandantem swaba kukrumie. Friday night you ask for pennies, Saturday night I give you $1. Friday night you ask for pennies, Saturday night I give you $1. When I come you say you sick, and when I go you say you well. When I come you say you sick, when I go you say you well. Today not day for me and you, we're gonna find champion. Friday night you ask for pennies, Saturday night I give you $1. Friday night you ask for pennies, Saturday night I give you $1. When I come you say you sick, and when I go you say you well. Today not day for me and you, we're gonna find champion. Today not day for me and you, we're gonna find champion. Baby sawale, sawa sawa sawale, sawa sawa sawale. Ooh no no, ooh no no no, no 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 no. Sholala sholala, sholala sholala, oh sholala sholala, oh awumiyo.
That was amazing, breathtaking. I don't think I have words to just encapsulate how much I enjoyed that. It's like filtering the purest form of, HighLife, the Yamponsai riff. You can hear it so much. I apologize for going on, but Chichaku, you're amazing. Over to you, Bernard.
Well, fair enough. I'm equally stuck for words, but that was a striking performance. That was world-class performance from my friend there, Chichaku. But I will not keep it. I will not keep you waiting. I actually caught up with him a couple of days ago, actually, and this is what he had to say. So hello, people of HMD. As promised, I have got with me here Eugene Ampedu, aka Chichaku himself. Welcome, Chichaku, and thank you very much for taking time out to speak to us here at HMD.
Thank you, Bernard. Thank you, HMD, for having me. It's a big pleasure.
Yes. I think the last time we spoke, you had just come back from Ghana, and I think you played a gig in Ghana. How was it? If you could tell us more, because some of us wish we could be in Ghana, and unfortunately, we're stuck in England.
Yeah, it's true. That was in November last year. It's already, and I have just also come back. That was last year again. Just also come back from Ghana. So, but it was nice, very nice trip back to Ghana. A lot of work, and a bit of a family and a holiday.
Excellent.
So, but it's kind of weird saying that I'm going to Ghana for holiday. You know, they say Africa is the place to be now. It's always been the
Yeah.
place to be now, but man. Now when you go, you really feel it, and I felt it. You know,
I can imagine.
especially
I
with the
can
situation
imagine.
around, the way people, you know, we've got the problem as well. But I think we're lucky, and people, they appreciate the life, and they make the life, living life scene. You know, outdoors,
Good.
friends
Good.
meeting, playing music. That was nice.
Great. So, I mean, we've got you on here, so because we want to ask you a few questions, few very interesting questions. So, the first one I'd start with is, I know you from Ghana from way back in the day, from the days at Alliance, playing with Della and stuff like that. I know that it's quite a challenge being a musician in Ghana, actually being a live musician or trying to play with a band in Ghana. I know it's a challenge because there is near enough no support network. So can you tell us more? Because I'm sure people would like to know what some of the challenges are as a young musician playing in Ghana, who is obviously not playing mainstream pop music.
Yeah, obviously there are challenges, a lot, and especially because in the last couple of years, I've been used to another system, and I've experienced other systems around the world. So the challenges in Ghana even get amplified the way I perceive them now. You know,
Yeah.
First of all, I would say venues, venues. The thing is, you've got loads of musicians. Ghana has like every church has a band. I keep saying
Yes.
every church has got a band. In Accra alone, there's what, thousands of churches. That means there's thousands of bands are playing every Sunday, right? So yeah, one of the venues is the church, but then it's not only there. You talking. I'm more interested in the secular venues, and there
Yeah.
is woefully like inadequate venues. So the
Yeah.
musicians cannot perform. If you decide to do like a tour of Accra and perform, unless you are erecting your own stage or mounting your own stage, you probably like in a week play all the good places that there are in Accra. So that's the first challenge, because then if musicians know there's places to play, there's audience to meet, then they up their game, and then they put together a band or put together a project and play. You know.
Yeah. I think
The
you're
other,
right.
yeah.
You're right on that sense in terms of the venue. A very important point, because I mean, I can name the venues that play live music in Accra on this Republic
233.
233. That one in
Republic.
East Legon, Shea Marie, or
She's a freak. She's a freak.
She's a
She's a
freak.
freak. Yeah.
And maybe Piano
Alliance
Bar,
Princess, Piano Bar. Yeah.
and that's it.
You've got Zen Gardens now that was doing things. Abajo Art Center. That's
Yes,
doing.
Abajo. I
Yeah.
think was it every
Abajo,
Thursday
which
night
is
or
really
Tuesday
like,
night?
yeah, Thursdays, which is Mr. K is doing an amazing job, like putting together
Yep.
that evening.
Yep.
Of course, you can talk about Kumasi, where there is a lot of music as well, but mainly for the funerals and a bit of stuff like that. But it's not like before. I remember meeting Big Wellington. Oh, was it Big Wellington? Baxton's dad, who's a musician from back in the day, saying like even if you had instruments, there were if you like a guy who had a set of instruments, there would be like people always chasing you, because there were like 3 bands getting engaged every weekend. They had to play, 3 dates.
Wow.
Like Didri,
People are busy.
yeah,
People are
venue
really,
is a
really
big
busy.
thing.
Okay.
Venue is a big thing. And then what I find quite interesting is the public.
Yeah.
You've got, let's go back as far back as 1998 thereabout, which is the last periods where bands like Western Diamonds and a bit of the bands that were left from
Marriott's International
were still active. Though people from back then who were outgoing had they had this idea to consume live music. So let's say 25, 30 years ago, the public started losing the appeal to consume live music. you know. And there is a way of consuming live music. When someone comes to stage to perform, like, you're not hearing all the finesse that they will be able to give you when if they've recorded in the studio. You know,
Yes.
everything is raw, but that means it's also organic and it's beautiful and it's different. Everything is getting cooked and it's fresh, you know.
Yes.
But people they lost touch in how to consume things.
Fresh
That if
music.
look, when you go to the restaurants, the food is prepared. The food is prepared maybe 4 5 hours ago, and then they serve everyone. You know, whereas ideally, restaurants are like places you go, you order from the menu, and then in a short moment, the food is prepared with fresh ingredients, fresh for you. That is the best way people appreciate food everywhere in the world. You know,
Yeah.
Ghana has lost that. Ghana is like now the food has to be prepared 2 weeks ago, and then now you're coming to eat it. You understand?
Can I stop you there? I really like that comparison because the food can be prepared 2 weeks. The food can be prepared 2 weeks ago. Actually, put in the freezer.
Frozen and then thawed, and then now you eat it. So that's how the music is gotten. So when people have gone to sit and they are watching a band, they still have this feeling that, oh, cake in there was say a mood judgment, kicking your bass, no one meant auto tune or voice, you know, those kind of things. And so the public has lost the sense of appreciating music. The last few years we've tried to put this, and it's beginning to come back now when people are realizing that when they have places like food places or restaurant houses are going to put like an acoustic set or like a little stage is beginning to come back. And that means the public needs to get educated and needs to hear more music being cooked on the spot to appreciate the nuances of music like that. So a big part of this is what puts people, even is what put a lot of the Hiplife guys off performing live, because they were used so much to the compressed MP3 sound that on live, when the band was backing them, that more opened sound that they could get, they were not used to. So then you kind of feel you pick up that something is missing from them, you know. Whereas like
totally
guys who perform live, when they play, you see that, oh yeah, they are in their realm, they are performing, and that's their style. So a lot of education, a lot of something needs to be done to get the public re-educated again. I remember 98 music was the last time that we had music education in the Ghanaian curriculum, the secondary school, and I was one of the last students who studied a bit of that, and then it was taken out.
Okay. So not to stop you there. So you mentioned venues as one of the difficulties that young Ghanaians go through in order to sort of hone their craft. So apart from the issue of venues, what other factors, what other problems do young musicians face? Especially, as I said, people that play like the way you play, people that play live music, people that play with live bands.
Yeah. Well, the biggest one is when you've gotten all these in place, you still need the music to be heard through a wider media, which means radio is responsible. Radio, they are not. I don't think they are giving enough quota, or they are playing enough music that carries that live element. All the music that is being played is produced music, sequenced music, you know. So again, we are not educating the people to accept music that we've made before that we used to love. We've ditched that is sad. The other thing is is the bands themselves. You know, it's very difficult for this. Like these days, you check on social media, and it's amazing what the young people are playing in Ghana. Sometimes I say, why these guys are not able to form projects, put together bands and create unique identities away from each other, because it's either that we are all doing the same thing, or we are content to stay in a certain corner most of the time in the church and play on a Sunday and it's finished. These guys are so skillful that if they were able to also bring up compelling projects, then it will open up. People begin to sit up and say, oh Charlie, check what these guys are doing, you know. So that aspect is also missing. Then another thing I find which is not helping this side of the music to move a lot more is the way we've sold ourselves. You know, the Hiplife movement, when it started, one of the things that they did was compelling music videos.
Yes.
They used what technology and what standard of video making was available to them, but they were able to make compelling music videos. And if you consider that, if you compare that to the live movement in Ghana since the 60s, since the 50s, that is totally lost. They say that we lost the videos through the fire thing in GBC, but to my best of knowledge, the musicians, they didn't make a lot of videos, and videos sell a lot. Like, I'm a culprit. So we need to invest more and make and show our images through videos, as in project. If you've seen Coldplay playing, you've seen One Direction, where you can feel they are a band and they are still playing, and those videos sell them. When you watch the Hiplife guys, they projected themselves as rappers and like DJs and stuff like that, and sold themselves. I think this is the direction the bands also need to do to be able to sell the sound, because image is very important as well. And not just the way you look, but also giving the music through film storytelling to people. So there's a lot, but these are some of the things that I think make up the core of the problem.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you with all of them. I mean, you've mentioned venues, you've mentioned support from the media. I'm sure bloggers don't even cover live music. Bloggers are more interested in other things. I'm not going to say, but they're more interested in other things. And then you've mentioned the fact that it's quite difficult to maintain people, So I really appreciate that. We know you had your training with the master himself, Chichaku Nimo, at your time at university. At your time at University of Science and Technology in Kumasi. I mean, that must have been like getting training from the source, because when it comes to folklore, when it comes to traditional music, Chichaku Nimo is more or less at the forefront. I mean, what was it like? What was it like studying, being a student of Chichaku Nimo in Kumasi?
Man, I tell you, look.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, this is a picture I made some pictures of me when I visited him the last time I was in Ghana.
Yeah.
Kunimo, I don't know, this man, this mystery surrounding him is always when you have somebody that everyone thinks, oh, Kunimo, you don't even know where it is. And someone takes you to his house and this is the man, and then he starts playing to you, and it's just like total, I don't know. But the experience was like this. In first year, by the end of first semester, I had lost interest in like my school called.
What were you studying?
Actually, I went to study building technology. It's the course that trains you to become like a quantity surveyor, or like a bit like public works, engineering, civil, those kind of things.
So you went from a sort of a building technology student.
Yeah.
What a jump.
Yeah, I know. Well, so one of the things, I always remember this, when I visited Cole first, the first thing he said to me is that music is frozen architecture. This is the quote he said to me, and for the first time, like, okay.
Could you repeat that again, please? I like that.
He said to me that in 2000, I believe this is 2003 when I met him first, he said, yeah, music is frozen architecture. And as rightly as you said, it's sort of like a big jump, but this saying that he said to me sort of like put everything together for me.
Yeah.
And anyway, by the end of the first semester, I was not really into what I went to do again. So then Kodimo became sort of like my university. I was visiting him literally every day, Then he invited me into his group, and I was playing with him for the rest of then for the next 4 or 5 years, I kept playing with him. Throughout all those years, every single day, there was something new that he pulled out of the hat.
Exciting learning experience.
Yeah, it would be like a new guitar line, a new guitar style, a new guitar that he, like, you think, oh, you've seen all the guitars this man has, and then one day he goes, oh, Eugene, shake guitar away, mommy. Then he brings it out, and or he might tell you about a guitarist that you go and read about, people he met, all the places he traveled, every little thing that he says, like so much worth and all of that. So yeah, it was such a great experience, and
I bet.
till
Yeah.
now I feel like I know him so much, but every time I visit him, there's always something new that I learn. It's
Yeah.
always something, and I'm sure everyone that goes to him picks up. This is what you pick up from the man. That is like he always says that you must be careful with things because Ghana, there's a lot of libraries on fire. And he himself, when
Oh,
he always
right.
says that, I
Okay.
look at him and I say, "Yo, this is the man. This is the primary library on fire, I mean, so that we need to, you know." But I think the last time I visited him, there were some interesting projects coming up, and I'm just praying for strength and energy for
Yeah.
him, because that
Yeah.
will help a lot to preserve his legacy and preserve what
Exactly.
traditional music has offered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Since
I mean, I'm a strong advocate of traditional music, but
Mm.
it's such a shame. I went to Kumasi in 2018, but I never had. I think you gave me even the contact, but I never had the chance to see him. But I think Konimo is more or less a walking database of our music, of our traditional music. So I guess you being a student of him will obviously carry on that tradition of also imparting that knowledge that probably nobody else at your level has been able to attain. Anyway, so moving on to my next question. As you know, in Ghana, I wouldn't say there's a divide, but there's this sort of gap between
Yeah.
people playing there's this sort of gap between musicians, essentially, between musicians playing live music, once again I'd say organic, ready to eat music, and sort of mainstream contemporary pop musicians. But we're all Ghanaians, you know, virtually we all sing in the same language. But why is there that artistic sort of gap, and what can be done to bridge that artistic gap?
Well, the gap, it arose because of Ghana's situation. We know how our music evolved, especially to the late 70s and 80s, the political situation that we had, and why that aspect of our music came down. You know, the organic forms came down in the way they were being consumed, and the cultures, that the subcultures that evolved with it. And what has come up after that was not only music, but was a lifestyle that was supposed to sell attention. And you know, with what we've gotten into the world now, about 75% of the biggest musicians is because of the amount of attention that they sell.
Yeah,
it's not only the amount of attention that they arrest, but before you would like J.A. Adolfo, when he was performing, his stage antics were superb. He was arresting attention, you know.
Yes.
He was selling the music by arresting attention. Now they don't only sell the music, they probably sell more attention than the music.
Totally. Yeah.
So this has created a big gap, because when you're performing on stage with a band, it seems to me you care more about the music than really selling a sort of attention. Otherwise, you would play shit. Otherwise, you will not get that gig in the first place. You know, you're playing shit on your guitar, no one is gonna invite you to play in the first place. You know.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Yeah.
But these days, if you're singing bad, you know, it's your antics on stage and your, as they call, your swag, that's really people are looking at, and
the auto tune.
That's what people are looking at, and this is what has created the main gap.
Okay.
You know, I think the musicians that came after that generation, we didn't have the tools as the people, Ambule and those guys back in the era they had. We had to find a way to cover up, to make up for the shortcomings. And so once we saw America, they were doing this and selling that attention, we grabbed that and then we pushed it. The thing is, you know, media always, you know, you have traditional media, even when you have media that come up and is more inclined to younger mainstream, you know, leftist ideas, you still have traditional ones that stay and stick to to the old rules and do things. In Ghana, we apart from GBC, we didn't really have that. Everybody went a totally different direction and carried along the new movement with it, and so everything else was left in the pond.
So saying that, what can be done to actually bridge the gap? So there would be those other musicians would tend to appreciate your craft and sort of try and relate with you guys more. Collaborations, any chance?
Collaborations, for sure. Collaborations. Now, I think it is very dangerous if we tend to put too much classifications and dissections in between the music forms, the movements that have evolved, because then all the musicians will not try to merge their spaces together. The musicians from the two angles. So collaborations is a good thing. Then of course, like for us who are playing live or organic styles, must also, there's a bit of the attention thing that you can sell that does not have a negative effect in the way you play. Effect on the way you play. We probably should be looking at that as well. So we are not doing totally wrong things, and they are not doing totally wrong things. There are good things at each side that we can fuse together. And as always with arts, the new generation that comes up and doesn't have like things to do, I realize they always can borrow elements from different aspects from way back, combine and create something new or advance what they want to do further. And I think this is what we need to do now.
Thank you. I mean, it's a short conversation, but I think it's been a great, informative conversation. But I just want to tell you that we will possibly have you on again in the new year. Maybe when your guys come over. When your guys come over, in the summer, all being good for tour, we might probably have you play a live stream for us, straight from wherever in Europe you may find yourselves.
Yeah, we'll do that. I might probably go to Ghana again before and maybe even in Ghana we can stream something for them. But this year, fingers crossed, we will do things.
Yes. So once again, I'd like to say, Chichaku, thank you very much. So I've been speaking to Chichaku, the leader of the Super Opong band and very good friend of mine. Once again, thank you very much, Chichaku. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard. Thank you, HMD.
Brilliant.
Yes, so that was my chat with Chichaku.
Well, there's so much to say. I think a really strong topic is education. That was a thread that came through. But without further ado, I'm quite excited because we have spoken about women in the past and their influence, and we have a woman who will be speaking next, and her name is Nyona Wofia, and she Agosa, yes, of the Agosa band, yes.
Yes.
And I think she introduces herself fantastically. She's the lead vocalist, and she's also a painter. So I think it's best that we go straight into her.
Yep.
Namala bali balyala, gato gato gaoli, tuba vyawa jolly, daga pisa so hali bongado. Namala china bewala, uga fell in love with me, uga got married to me, uga dini do mami mama wadada, ugada. Now uga vajam tutu, uga nata uga ba, uga na chami mae, uga na wunkunama, uga na wutonama, uga na chamda daji mafua mafana gana ina mama wadada, ugada, ugada mada mada ma, ugada ma mama wadada ma, ugada ma ba mama wadada. Yendo bada bada le, yendo hanya hanya le bawadami. Yendo belly belly le, kwena lede, meho lede, meja lede bawadami. Yendo china bewule, ugaze wanyinumi, ugada enademi, ugaze wanyinumi ndo wadami. No uga waze gajel, ugani do ugabe, ugani chami mae, ugani hunkunumi, ugani huntonumi, ugani semi daji mawediam fanaga nudo, wadami, wadami, wadami dami dami, wadami no wadami, wadami ababo bondo wadami.
That was a fantastic performance. It just
That,
shows the diversity of our music, of
yeah,
live performance. Yeah.
yes, I totally agree with you. It lays bare the performance, as in, it's not just about high life. Yes, it's high life, but we have to take into consideration the other forms of music that probably do not get the press that they need to get, really. So
Yeah.
that was Agoso. I think we got the introduction slightly over the bar, didn't we?
Well, I mean, not to
Yeah,
worry. I think she gives
but
a really good explanation about what she does, which I think will be next, and it will flow
exactly.
into your interview with her.
Thank you.
My name is Nyonwofia Agoso. I'm an Afro-world musician and a fine artist. I'm the lead vocalist of my band Agoso. I use traditional instruments in the making of my music. And as a fine artist, I do abstract and impression paintings. I'm inspired by the African knowledge system. It is what opens our mind, body, and soul into laws, mechanisms, and mysteries of existence. Music therefore becomes the root of the African knowledge system. This system is what leads us into the evolution of organic science and technology. It is very easy to describe or define what I do as traditional music. However, I think it's fairer to say that I produce my music using the traditional instruments. I love the sound of our indigenous instruments so much. You know, in our shrines and monasteries, we drum, we sing, we dance to different types of indigenous music. And each of these indigenous music leads us into self-discovery. It leads you into that hall where you are able to tap into yourself and bring out any style of music or any art at all you want to do. Looking around, I realized that there is a very tiny interest for indigenous instruments, basically because people think that our instruments cannot take you beyond or cannot affect the society, the world at large positively. But that is very wrong. I therefore felt the need to use them to create awareness in my own way. The obstacles are a lot, but to mention a few, there is that struggling economy, of which is unfriendly to the arts, and the music industry continues to shift from the live music. At this stage, it makes it difficult to find women who are into live music, and even if you find any, the few that we have around, they find difficulties when it comes to publicity and exposure. Apart from this, women are prevented at a very tender age due to academic studies. Meanwhile, music is the greatest tool in educating body, mind, and soul. Our education system does not also support the introduction of our traditional music. For instance, dancing, drumming, singing, storytelling, all these things as a way of learning is what tunes and trains the mind of the child to bring out that creative genius in him or her for the benefit of his society and the world at large. The role of women in music, being it traditional or contemporary, is yet to evolve. This is because our traditional indigenous music, again, as I've already mentioned, is no more taught both at home and in schools. In the old Africa, our indigenous music was taught all over the community, and this was the basis of our life. It is who we are. Every African is a musician, is a drummer. We've all got the art. That is who we are. That is our nature. But these things are not going on anymore. In today's Africa, you can see clearly that servitude, education, and religion has taken all these things away from us. We are left empty. And this kind of brainwashing, which has taken our music, our language, our culture, our nature, who we are, it has wiped it all off. And we have lost insight into our indigenous music, which is the root of who we are. We've lost it. A society without an insight into its indigenous music culture is a lost society, it's a lost continent, it's a lost community. And this is the situation we find ourselves today. And it doesn't only affect the women, but all genders. The future is sadly very slim unless women get active in the studying and playing of instruments, especially their traditional indigenous instruments and music, and also getting involved in the sound recording process. This is the foundation of every musician.
Bernard, I don't know how you find these people. There is so much to unpick from just that little small interview, you know,
Yes,
looking at women.
Yep, carry on.
Looking at the role of women, the challenges there, just looking at how our music, which was our form of education, you know, mind, body, and soul, is not, it's not there anymore. Fantastic. I just wanted to say that if some people, there was a break in transmission on YouTube. I think we've just had a few people mention it. Hopefully it wasn't for too long.
I think we're back up, I think.
Yeah, but just to say that that was really powerful.
Okay, great. So we're going to move on swiftly. So the next musician is actually a very good friend of mine. He has played and produced for Osibisa. He's the guitar player for Craig David. Amazing producer. He's worked with Ghana's finest, from Pat Thomas to Nana Tufo to Kojo Enchi to Amachi Dede. And he is currently in Accra at the moment. But yes, I actually caught up with him, and he played some music for us. So yes, this is Kwame Yeboah's rendition of Ya Santua, a typical Ghanaian folk song, but this time played on the Fender Rhodes. Kwame Yeboah with Ya Santua.
way he tinkles those ivories.
Well, I mean that was so stirring. I mean, Kwame just played that just for us, and yeah, that rendition alone just gave me goosebumps. But amazing! It shows you the talent we have in Ghana.
Absolutely,
the high grade quality of talent that we have.
And you got to talk to him, didn't you?
Yes, I did get to have a little chat with him as well, and yeah, this is what he had to say. Welcome everybody, and welcome to the final version of HighLife Music Deconstructed. And I'm very, very happy and pleased to have with me on this very final episode, Mr. Kwame Yeboah, all the way from Accra, Ghana. Kwame, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, brother. Virtually.
always good to see you.
Man,
well,
man, do you realize I haven't seen you since 2019 now?
I know, it's terrible. I mean, the last time I saw you, Jazz Cafe, London with Pat Thomas, and that was it. And that was it. But yeah, it's good to see you again, though. Although it's taken quite a while to track you down. It's taken quite a while.
How it's like. You know how it's like, brother.
Busy. Anyway, so how is life in Ghana so far as music is concerned? I know over the Christmas period, you were out touring with Kojo Intwi and Amachidede. Could you tell us how was it? I mean, two great stars. I wish I was there.
No, that was amazing. That was a great experience. And also, even though they share some audience, they both have different audiences, so and they react differently to their music.
Yeah.
And I realized that for the first time because we played to both audiences at the same time. You had both of them, all the audiences there at the same time. Some like both, some sat down for one and rave for the other, and some were like in the whole thing the whole time. It was incredible.
God.
I enjoyed it.
Oh God, I could imagine Ghana Christmas.
Yo, no, the Christmas time was nice, but it wasn't still easy because you still got to preserve the protocols of COVID-19. So not all the situations were so conducive.
See, we think in the same direction. So saying that as well, I mean, for me personally, I know for you as well. I mean, last summer was a total write-off. I didn't play a single gig, not even one. I mean, we had loads of festivals booked. I didn't even play one. I mean, with musicians in Ghana now, how are musicians in Ghana coping with the current situation of not being able to play because of COVID-19?
That's a big issue here. It's a big issue because majority of these guys don't have any, there isn't an infrastructure that supports you that way to actually be able to fend for yourself in times like these, and no one expected these to happen. So musicians are suffering quite a bit, especially the ones that the new and young ones that have just come in, and the ones that maybe invested into things. I mean, we got hit as well because we were supposed to do our special album, with my band and Pat Thomas. We're supposed to do a special festival after our album release, and we did a promo tour. Was successful. We got like 80 shows or something like that booked, and then of course we didn't even do one of them. So, if you think about that, the other guys in the band that do not have studios or other stuff to depend on, they will they get to suffer a lot, and that's what's happening. Some are also able to get little bits of sessions in between, but it's not the same. You can't even, the money's dropped down so much that it's just cut into three right now, and you just got one part of it.
So it's anyway. It sounds really grim.
I think musicians in Ghana need some support. The Musicians Union, I'm not sure how it's run, so it's not able to support people in situations or in these times.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a shame, but I mean, I can't blame them because I'm not sure how they run it, how many people have joined, how many are paying their dues and all that stuff for them to have even the government support and all that stuff. It gets looked into. Anyway, different story, different topic.
I can imagine. I mean, when it comes to Ghana music management and music rights and copyrights and royalties, I know that's a totally different kettle
It's
of
a
fish.
whole different ballgame.
We have to set aside like 3 months to sit down and talk about it
You're
because
right.
it's quite
And
a
bring
lot.
some fun facts to the table that meant to be facts.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm going to mention a few names. I mean, Osibisa, Cat Stevens, Miss Dynamite,
Yeah.
Mystique, yeah, girl band,
I worked with them
Nana
before.
Nana Tufo,
Yeah.
Kojo Entry. I mean, this is a cross section of really good professional musicians, and all these musicians play live, and you are obviously a multi-instrumentalist. In Ghana now, I can say live music is actually on like one leg now. I mean, what can be done from your point of view to get more people to actually play live? What can be done to get the infrastructure in place to make more people play live?
It's a very good question. The first thing I think need to be done is to get more venues. We need more venues. Without venues, you can't create that place for people to go and play live. Obviously, you can hear more live music in churches because there are loads of churches around, and they have the instruments as well. So every 2 miles, you can meet a church and they have the gear. If that was the same with venues, if venues had instruments, you can have a bunch of people just walk in there and start playing. That's one. And the second thing I think would help is if musicians like myself and people that do music that are not just commercial or popular music need to record a lot more content, because we are the ones that end up not recording as much. When you want to hear Afrobeats and all these other stuff, you hear them, everywhere. And they release music every 2 seconds, 2 minutes. There's a new Afrobeat artist, Afropop. Same as pop, same as reggae, same as other genres. But you don't have that with that in Ghana right now. People that play live music find it hard to even record. I mean, there are only a few places you can really have a decent recordings done here. So it's all part of it. I mean, if we could kind of regulate that, that would be really good, and then people can then be able to then play more, go out more, tour their music, because there'll be you can play 5 venues in Takoradi, you can play 5 venues in Kumasi, you can play 20 venues in Accra, or think about, I mean, venues, not someone's backyard.
I mean, someone's backyard.
Not like just in the middle of the street, just
Well, but
I mean, make it nice, make it African, make it but at least it has to be not like oh, you can't.
Well, that was the concept. That was a concert party days. That was used to be in people's houses.
But you know what though? They still had it that there was a little stage there each time.
Yeah. I mean, it was
with my dad, because I was quite I must be about 8
well, I
9,
mean,
yeah. They always had a stage, or they had some elevated space to be on, and for the audience to be on the other side. So that was always there. And they had this special curtain thing where they put, and then behind they have their costumes, and they get they change their outfits and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, space. A few people I've spoken to.
I mean, sorry, I don't mean to cut you. What's the sound?
Yeah, carry on, Kwame, carry on. Don't worry.
Those days, the concert band days, they used to play. They would play in Kaneshi, Pampron, Circle, Orion, Nima, Gaskia, or somewhere. They would play in every single every single part area of Accra. They'll play in La Paz, and they'll play it as Hong Kong theaters, and play at Kwashiman. So they'll play 3 shows in this little tiny area, and they will get people every night. That's why there were that many concert bands around, because they made money out of it. At that time. Do you get what I mean? But there are no venues, so
there's lack of venues. I totally agree. I totally agree with you on that as well.
Playing someone's beer bar, and they don't think about live music. They think about how much space to get for people to sit and
yeah, yeah. I mean, you bringing a stage would mean that less people to sit.
less chairs.
That's not good for business. Anyway,
No.
that's amazing. So, I mean, I know you're an amazing multi-instrumentalist. I was actually listening to this gentleman today.
Yo, that's
I
my
mean,
father.
the hair is better than yours.
You know, to be honest, man,
Much better than
I just
yours.
want to be like him, man. I just want to be like
Right.
him. Oh man, I'll get there. I'll get there.
One day. Okay. So, I mean, your dad was an amazing guitarist. I mean, KK number 2, one of the seminal HighLife bands in the 70s. I mean, you as a multi-instrumentalist, I know you play keys. So keys and guitar, which one would you lean towards?
I call myself a keyboard player.
Yes.
Because I kind of stopped playing guitar when I was about 14 or 15.
Yeah.
Between 13 and 14 to play keyboards because I wanted to have that big keyboard sound. And from that time, I didn't touch guitar till I joined the Craig David band in 2001.
Yeah.
I joined them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when I played guitar. I started playing the guitar again. I mean, I recorded in the studio and all that, but I don't practice guitar as much as I practice keys. So I call myself a keyboard player. But I happen to be one of the few people that can play certain styles. So I actually get
that was the next topic I was going to come up to, as in HighLife music in general, and maybe you said different styles, but at this point in time, I'll put everything together. I mean, the future of HighLife, so far as the young ones are concerned, I know you are sort of a father figure. I mean, the amount of people that have passed through that room that you're sat in, who are now playing on world stages. I mean, Santrophy, probably half of Santrophy went through where you sat.
Majority of them.
Dominic, Emmanuel,
Nana Boachi, all of them,
everybody went through you. I mean, and these guys are relatively young. So once again, from your perspective as someone who's more or less a mentor, what is the future? What can you see? What is the future for HighLife? So far as these people that have come through your camp, these slightly younger musicians who are also trying to make a mark. I mean, what is the future like for them?
You know, the one thing I'll say is we need more bands like Santrophy.
Yes.
We need to have more bands. We need to have more bands. That's the only time we can truly start talking about the music and the genre and what we can do with it. You can't have 3 bands. You can't have Kochiburi and Santrophy and that's it. It's done. You can't have 4 bands. You can't have Chichaku and this. It's 4 of us. It's not
enough.
It's not 100 of us. It's not, you know what I mean? And all doing really well. We just need to find a different spill of whatever we're doing as far as HighLife goes, and we don't all end up sounding the same because we're playing similar music. In the 70s and the 80s, those guys, they had sound. They had their own sound. Each single band had their sound. If you had K from Pons, K from Pons. If you had Vis-a-Vis, if you had, even though Vis-a-Vis back K from Pons as well for some of the tracks that he did, when you hear K from Pons one, you can hear a bit of, difference with it.
There's a distinct difference,
Played the same songs, the same clave, but you had everyone sounding different.
Yes.
That's what we need. We need more bands, and we need people having something that's special about what they do, the HighLife they bring. We wanted to bring out a version of HighLife that is special and different. Then we can start talking. You can start hearing variety of HighLife. You don't hear the same HighLife. If imagine we play the same thing. Sasha plays the same thing. The other band plays the same thing. The audience gets to hear the same thing.
You're right.
We need to bring out different things. And with that, we can create the market at the same time, because that market kind of died from the 80s and people love it, but we end up sending HighLife more abroad than we end up being able to giving it to people that are in Ghana, even though they love it whenever they hear it here.
Yeah.
We're not marketing it as much as we're marketing it out there. You know,
I
I
mean,
know that's all because of the whole. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you.
no, that's fine. Carry on.
It's just all from labels and distribution companies and all that, and the system that Ghana runs, and people having particular artists that are being pushed in front of the queue, than allowing every genre to have its representation in the industry or in the market of music, and not just having one soul, just dancehall and Afrobeats and whatever it is. Only. So, you need to have some folklore. There's some
Yeah,
that, some other thing. Yeah, they all we need the variety. We need it.
a fair
Yeah,
balance. A fair
that's
balance. I mean, to reiterate on what you've said, I mean, I'm a DJ, I'm a record collector. I've been around sort of when they called it world music. Today, it's not
yes.
world music. I mean, I've been around from when they called, and to me,
Well,
in Ghana now, so far as music is concerned, there is a distinct sort of divide. I would say the kind of music you guys play, the kind of music Santrophy plays, the kind of music Chichaku plays, I see that as music for export, because
yeah,
no one actually partakes in that sort of sound. And then the other side, which is more the pop, the contemporary, the sort of dancehall that you said, that is mainly for home consumption. I mean, that is how I see it
yeah.
conceptually. So
That's how. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. No,
that's how
carry on.
it's become. That's how it's. I mean, we should be able to spread the love everywhere, so we have the music everywhere equally. In the
Yes,
70s, the music was being made for the people here, and
yeah,
people out there heard it and loved it. It wasn't being
yes.
made, just to go and do festivals.
Yeah,
let's, let's to get festivals. Do you get what I mean? Yeah,
yeah.
basically that.
Kwame, could you stop for a minute? I think you're missing, but you're going to come back.
There we go.
Hold on. No, no, we are going to bring you back at stream. Okay, Kwame, can
You
you
there,
see
Bernard?
us? I am here. Can you see me? Hey,
Yeah.
you're back. Thank God for that. There was no way I was going to rewind this session.
No, we in.
There was no way I was going to great, you're
We
back. Okay.
we in.
Um, right. So we're almost coming to the end of this sort of little chat that we were having for you to sort of have with you for HMD. I would like to know, I mean, I think sometime before Christmas, the government passed legislation to do with some sort of funding. Sorry, I don't have all the details. My other colleague has got all the details, but it's to do with the government providing money to musicians, but at the same time, we'll try and levy you guys as well. I mean, have you heard anything? Can you tell me more?
To be honest, I haven't heard about this, and that's really because I've kind of shut my whole system to a lot of news that's coming in, because with the whole COVID thing going on, there was so much information coming that just got me depressed every day. So I
Okay.
just made sure I filtered every information that came to me. I heard some stuff about the government helping or doing something for musicians, but I heard they wanted to build a studio.
Okay.
Obviously, they should tax musicians. We should pay tax. We should, it should be done properly. We should be
Yeah.
recognized as an entity that bring X amount of money to the government, and we should pay tax, and we should be taxed, and we should get social security and benefits and all that stuff. That's what should happen. So
Yeah.
if the government is going to put in money and take a percentage out of it, I think it makes sense. But I'm not very sure what the main situation or the main story is with that. So, I would like to get some enlightenment before I can comment more about it.
Okay, great. It's such a shame I haven't got the full bill here to not for us to go through, but I mean, it's quite important to mention that as well. So finally,
You can always send it to me, and I can do a video, and you can insert it. I can do it on my phone.
That's a brilliant idea. That's an absolutely brilliant idea. I think our internet is cutting, but we are not going to cut. We've almost come to the end, and we
Good.
can't let we can't let technology ruin something this interesting. There you go. Good. So finally, when do we get an album from you personally?
Oh, is that one of the questions you've got?
Yeah, that's my last question. When can we
Really?
expect your album?
Okay, why didn't you ask this question first?
Well, I decided to leave it for last because I thought that would be
Well,
that would be a nice way to say bye bye to a
yeah,
guest. They're gonna expect
actually,
an
yeah, you're
album
right.
from Kwame Yeboah.
To be honest, I was gonna release my album in 2020, at the end
Yeah.
of 2020, because we had Kwashibo album. I recorded my album in 2018, but we had
Hmm.
Kwashibo album release in 2019, so I couldn't have my album release.
Yeah.
I was meant to then finish the festivals from last year, and
Yeah.
then finish festivals last year, and then release my album towards the end of the year, and then do the
Yeah.
promo tour and all that around from March up until August,
Yeah.
and that's what happened. But I don't want to release my album and not be able to do the right promotion for it and do the right thing and just have some
Of
virtual
course.
thing here and
No.
there.
No. No. No.
And
No. No.
that's
No.
just
No.
my thing right now. I have a few conceptual shows that are coming out that will be coming out from my home and all
Good.
that stuff. Yeah, and the YouTube
Good.
stuff and all that. I've been doing some master classes and also I have some educational program that's also being rolled out. So there's a few things going on. And once we're able to go outside again, you'll hear the album.
Excellent. I mean, look, I don't know what to say. It's been such a pleasure to have you, and I'd really like to apologize for the break in the internet. But yeah, at least we could hear you, and we could actually see you, and we can see you now. So yes, thank you very very much, Kwame, and we will be speaking to you sometime soon. Take care.
Thank you very much. Thank you, brother. Nice one.
Thank you.
Bless.
Another insightful conversation there, focused a lot on the industry structures and lack of support.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yes.
wanted to say, I mean, as a DJ, you mentioned this, and also as a digger, I believe that, you know, popular HighLife music, live music, it's been sustained because of the stuff that you're doing. You know, you're not you in particular, but you're reissuing, you're playing the music and keeping it alive. I mean,
Yes.
could you talk a bit more about, you know, that kind of?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I think the industry structures for these new young artists that are still pursuing the art of playing live is 100% or near enough, let's say 98% um, foreign owned. So you've got lots of labels from Europe having a big stake or having huge investments in these young up and coming artists who are playing live. You've got labels like Philophone, who's actually set up shop in Kumasi now, just recording the way they used to record in the 70s. And you've got musicians like Alogote Oho, Florence Aduni, The Sounds of Joy. All of them are signed to his Philophone label, and that is providing great support and great exposure. You've got like Strat, the home of Ebo Taylor and
Pat Thomas.
Pat Thomas, you know. So you've got agencies like Eden who actually support the scene a lot as well, because they are notable agents and booking agents. So I'd say it's all 100% or near enough 100% foreign owned, but the output is quite raw and organic and quite soulful.
No, that is true. I mean, in terms of the future, and all of them have mentioned this at different points, it's about being able to sustain that.
Yes.
And I know that there are a number of musicians out there that I'm sure you would say we should all be listening to, supporting,
Of course.
buying their records. Yeah.
Well, yes. I mean, if we want to keep the scene alive, especially in Ghana, I think the best thing to do would be to support these musicians. Obviously, now you can't play live, but you can stream, you can stream their music, you can buy online. So I would strongly suggest you do so to keep the music scene alive. Yes, new music. There's loads of new Ghanaian music around, just that they don't get the airplay that the main contemporary artists get. So you've got bands like A Lost Men signed to Strat. That's also a Kologo player from the North. Amazing album. You've got Philophone with Florence Aduni, latest album coming out, I think in March or something like that. You have Santrophy's label as well as Earth. Is it Earthworks? Not Earthworks. I forgot. But Santrophy's label, out here, or out there. One of those two.
And I think it's out there.
Out there.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, one of those two. They're signed to Santrophy as well, and they are actually doing a lot to get the guys more recognized. So I believe we should support the community. We should go and see their live gigs once this thing is over. We should stream the music, and moreover, we should make noise about them. Very, very important.
Absolutely, and that's something that we at Acadie are, passionate about, and we encourage people, especially in the diaspora, who want to connect with their roots, to be doing that. I think you mentioned with Kwame about the Creative Arts Bill and where that had got to. And as much as we've had lots of these things raised by government before, I feel like this is our time to hold them to account.
Exactly.
So, yeah, if they're saying that they're going to do it, we make sure that they account for why it still hasn't happened,
Exactly. So I think that is an avenue as well that, music business, as I said, we need a 3-month session to talk about that. But I think it's been a brilliant 5 series. We've got 10 hours of good material and counting. So yes, it's been really amazing to have you guys on for the past 5 episodes. All I'd say is just keep loving live music, keep loving good music.
Absolutely. And thank you for all your support, everyone who's stuck with us. Thank you very much for Patrick, who has been behind the scenes, making sure that everything flows. I don't know if we can see him. Also,
he's right. He's yes.
Okay. And also to Rhoda, who is in Accra, live tweeting as we speak. To all the people who've supported us, asked us questions, commented, please don't stop. Keep talking, keep supporting us and all the musicians that you're now hearing about if it's your first time. And most of all, I'd like to say thank you to the experts. Bernard, I don't know how you've kept all that knowledge in your head, since September. But it's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much as well for having me. So yes, we're going to sign off with a performance from Chichaku. So this was a clip that he recorded at the Alliance Française in Ghana, and it's with his full-blown Super Opong Stars. It was known at Ghana Log HighLife then, but it's now Super Opong Stars, and they call this Kukrumi. Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.
throw it here, yumfa. Many I call on saying a man. Ujagra, I do see kind of Jananka. See, cook me your joy away, cook me away. Yumfa, throw it here, yumfa. Yumfa, throw it here, yumfa. Many I call on saying a man. Ujagra, I do see kind of Jananka. Cook me your joy away, cook me away. Everybody go like that. Come on. Chew up. So, me say, Wabaya, Kukumi, your joy away, Kukuyo.